What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man. It's been a while, So.
That's a screw.
You can even tell already, you know?
Hey, right rudder, that's it.
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Needs to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line, and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass, bro.
That landing. Whew. I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're going to make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft. We've got a fuel leak. Have we? Yeah.
By the way, go to the whiskey, sorry. The whiskey is quite strong. Mate, you're going to make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. As I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
This one. I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We are off.
Student Wheel 08, surface wind is 330 at 9 knots, we've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo is right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to flow with.
Yeah, very nice.
Victor Golf, clear to enter South Controlled airspace now in the climb task chute 3,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Yes, 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It's not like in the cloud.
Victor Golf, proceed at location Sierra November. This comes the procedure report on both flights established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway 23.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. Yes. What's up, people? Ladies and gentlemen, this is your future captain speaking. My name is Dee. Welcome to Future Pilot 901 Live. We're live on Kick and on YouTube. And this is, of course, a show that is live every Monday, 7 p.m. British summertime. As always, we keep our fingers on the pulse of general aviation. I am glad to have you guys on board today. Shout out to you and happy Monday. Happy Monday, people. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's a good time to be alive, man. It's a good time to be alive. I hope you guys have had a great past week. I hope you have been productive. I hope you have been making progress towards your dream. I hope you have been making progress towards your dream. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to the new subscribers. Thank you. Thank you very much for choosing Future Pilot 901. Thank you for subscribing. You are definitely helping me out because you're basically validating that I'm not crazy. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Real quick. So I went back to the episode last time to basically put chapters on the YouTube channel. And I realized that the audio was actually terrible. So even though I had a microphone in front of me the whole time, unfortunately, the sound was actually being captured by the camera, not the mic. So we're not making that same mistake today. We're not making that same mistake today. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me too. Shame on me too. Yeah, we're going to do better. We're going to do better. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everyone joining in. Of course, we have one of our channel favorites, Ayub out in Morocco. Shout out to you, Ayub. Oh, that's the wrong one. Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened? Did you delete? Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Happy Monday, people. Happy Monday, people. I hope you are doing real good. Thank you for joining, man. Man like Ayub is on the train, but he's not missing the show. So if you're watching this on the replay, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? The live show is where it's at. The live show is where it's at. Listen, I've got a very interesting flight bag for you guys today. I can't wait to get into the topics of the day. If you guys can see, wait, I'll show you. 1 second. For some of you that have been following, you know that we've been reading Performance Pilot. And one of the key things that came up in Performance Pilot, the book, is the fact that central visual acuity, which is what 2020 vision's about, is not all you need as a pilot. You actually need good peripheral vision. So apparently juggling is supposed to help you improve your peripheral vision, or at least maintain a good level of peripheral vision and good eyesight and coordination and all that jazz. And I don't like being about that talk. I'm not interested in wasting time flapping my gums and not actually learning anything. So I decided to get myself these to actually practice. 1 second. Give me a second. Wait. I can do this. 1 sec. All right, one more time. I promise I did this so much better before like the cameras went live. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Give me one more try. I can do this. All right. Come on, give me your faith, give me your belief. Let's go. There you go, people. There you go. So I'll be practicing that some more during the week. But that's what it's all about. Putting action where action is supposed to be. Right. Let's have a look. Who else is in the chat? Okay, I'm gonna be banning some people. I am gonna be banning some people because I don't like people coming in the chat. I don't need any viewers. No thanks. In fact, the fewer the people that view, the better. Really. Yeah, multitasking. Yeah, that's true. Definitely multitasking. It definitely helps with multitasking. And the interesting thing about multitasking is wait a second. Ayub is actually a genius. Why do I say that? Because the human mind cannot pay attention and focus on 2 things or 3 things at one time. We actually cannot think about more than one thing at a time. So what do we actually do? We juggle. That's what we actually do. We think about something and then we think about the other thing. And before this one drops back down, we think about it again. And we forget about the other thing, and then we think about that, and we think about the other thing and the other thing. And what we are actually doing in an aircraft is juggling the whole time. And we've got different patterns of looking at the instruments. So juggling is actually a very good way to think about it. It's really multitasking is juggling, and juggling is multitasking. Right. What do we have in the flight bag for today? Listen, guys, I've got a question. I've got a question, guys. I've got a question. I don't know if I did a good thing or not. I'm not sure if I made the right decision. So I need you guys to advise me. All right. So at some point, I won't say when, because I know people be watching and people be stalking me. People actually be stalking me. But at some point in my life, I went on a date. Yes, at some point in my life, I did. I went on a date. Yes, I went on a date. I went on a date, guys. At some point in my life, I won't say when. Anyways, in the date, we were playing some games. We played some games. So one of the games we played was checkers. We played checkers. It's a nice game. It's kind of like a step down from chess. It's a bit of a tactical game, but it's a lot easier to pick up. And we played chess. Now, me being me and being the competitive me that I am, do you think I let my date win? What do you guys think? Did I let them win? Did I make her feel good being out on a date? Let her win, boost her confidence? What do you think? Did I let her win? Did I let her win? Yep. Ayub's got it. No, I did not. I whooped her. I had no mercy. I mean, like during the game, I even forgot I was on a date. I went for it. I was savage. I was savage. Um, so then we played another game. And I thought, yeah, maybe this time round I'm gonna, you know, tone it down a little bit. Tone it down. So we played a game of Battleship. You guys ever played Battleship? I played a game of Battleship. Look up. I thought I'd let her win, and then I was like, nah, forget it. I got to win. I was like, nah. So guys, I just kept on winning. I kept on winning. And then we played a game of Bogle. A game of Bogle. And still, I didn't let her win. I did not let her win. I was like, nope, I'm going to win that too. And you know, like when you play, it's like a card game, right? And during the card game, you basically have to look at two cards and figure out what's the same on those two cards. And there's different images on each card. There's maybe like a lamp, there's maybe a building of some sort, there's an animal of some sort, whatever it is. So you look at two cards, and whoever can pick out what's the same in those two cards the quickest gets to choose it, or gets to keep that card. And who at the end of it, whoever's got the most cards actually win. So obviously, detail checking is one of the skills that's required in your assessments for the airlines. So I'm well practiced. And you know, like when you get all the cards and you get lots of cards because you're just so good at picking up all the details, and you have a look at all the cards at the end and you're like, wait, I can see I already won. I already won. But you know, like when you try to be humble, or at least you pretend to be humble, you're like, oh, do you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It really doesn't matter. Let's just move on to the next game. They're like, no, let's count the cards. I'm like, you really want to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Counted the cards. And of course, again, I won. I won. Does it make me feel like a big man for winning? Does it make me feel like some kind of, superhero? Am I proud of myself? Yes, yes, I actually am. And then I had a thought. What if she could actually beat me, and she just wanted to boost my confidence, and she actually very skillfully let me win? Could I have had the whole thing upside down? It's possible. It's possible, It's possible. But yeah, so yeah, what do you guys think? When you're out on a date, should you let your date win? That's my question. Chess is way more fun. I do agree. Chess is more interesting. There's lots more moves you can make, but it's just, if somebody has never played chess before, it takes a little while to teach them. And actually, the best way to teach chess, I think, and I've taught chess to like how old was he? A 9-year-old, 10-year-old. The best way to do it is on an iPad or a phone, right? Because when you do it digitally, it actually shows you what your options are, right? And so it guides you. Whereas if you have a physical board, that is nicer, but you end up having to coach them a lot more. So the best way is actually to use digital means to play the game if you're learning. And then once you get really good at it, or you get decent at it, and you know what each piece can do, then you can move into physical board. She probably still yeah. No, but it was good fun. It was good fun. Yeah, I did not let her win any game, but again, I don't know if she actually was the one that let me win. I can't tell. I can't tell. Anyways, that's my life drama is over. One new thing that I'm quite excited about, let me show you guys. I won't tell you, I will show you. I have a new software. And I will be introducing a new. Why is it playing up? I'll be introducing a new streaming day. I'll be introducing a new streaming day. Anyways, it's not for some reason it's not working, unfortunately. But basically, I've downloaded and paid for X-Plane on this new computer. I had it on my laptop before, but now I have it on this computer. So I'm actually going to be flight simming very soon. I've got my stuff in the boxes. I just need to. I've already paid for the software. I don't know why it's not opening, but I will get that up and running, and then I just have to figure out a day when I'm actually going to be doing some streaming of flight sim. As always, my focus is not doing like airline stuff and flying to JFK and all of that kind of stuff. It's just going to be covering like PPL stuff, you know, and it's going to be a way for me to keep my skills fresh, especially now that I won't be flying as often. So yes, that's the news. That is the news, that we're going to be streaming an extra day this in the week. Probably starting next week. All right. So I have been also doing. I've also been doing airline preparations. Are you guys doing airline preparations? Because selection season is coming very soon. The Honorable Company of Air Pilots opens up scholarships, usually traditionally November, the first Saturday of November. So that's coming up very soon. That's going to be PPL scholarship. So up to 45 hours of of flight training, and all your exams and your theory exams and all that kind of stuff is all covered. So it's one of the most prestigious PPL scholarships in the country. And I think it's actually open internationally. So check out airpilots.org, because I believe it is internationally available. You just have to be able to get to the UK and complete your training in the UK and cover your living expenses. But in terms of the training expenses, that gets covered, and you leave with a CAA PPL license. So that's coming up very soon. And then in January, things like what's the other company? The Air League has their scholarships that go live. TUI MPL program goes live usually around about January time. Then you have Aer Lingus kicking in probably about February and March. I haven't checked the most recent dates, but traditionally that's around about the time. Then you have British Airways, which is the one I'm waiting for. Kicks in usually around about March. It has done, I think, March for the last 2 years. So let's have a look. This is one of the exercises, and I want to have a go at doing this on here. This is actually one of the best websites for those preparations. Have you guys ever seen this website? Most people would know this. So let's have a go. This is one of my favorites. So if you don't, what you can do on this website, by the way, I'm not sponsored by them in any way, but they should sponsor me. What you can do on this website is select an airline that you are going to be doing assessments for, And basically it then gives you a package that is pretty similar to what you would probably be doing for that airline in terms of assessments. I found it really useful last year when I was preparing for British Airways. I got to stage 2, so it's definitely going to be something I'm going to be doing. Now, they've got a couple of free exercises that you can do just to try it, because I'm not going to buy it now, because I'm going to buy it for 6 months. So I'm thinking December, January, February, March, April, May. Yeah. So I'll buy it early December for 6 months so that I can get into the flow of it. But here we go. Let's have a go at this exercise so you can have a look. Boom. No pressure. Everyone's watching. And one thing I've been working on when it comes to like doing these assessments is being more relaxed. And obviously now actually talking while I'm doing it, which I'm usually not talking. But yeah, I want to, because the more relaxed you are, usually the better you perform, or the better I perform. The more tense I get, the less I perform. Okay, so I can slow it down. So I'm pressing the button F just to slow it down a tad. And if I want to speed up, I press D and I move faster. So there's some gaps that I'm quite confident in and I can move quite fast. And then there's times where I just need to slow it down. So it's kind of like a balance between those. And if I can learn to relax into stuff like this, then I think I'll be laughing when the assessments come by. Okay, slow down a bit. I don't know how much I can say about the assessment process at British Airways, but when I did do this version of this test, it was quite similar to this. It wasn't exactly this. So you can never kind of get too complacent thinking, oh yeah, like it's going to be exactly what I've practiced. It's probably not. And they're probably going to change it every now and then. So whatever practice you do, just remember that it's probably going to be a little bit different. But what you can do is carry the confidence with you, carry the relaxed nature of how you approach it with you. And that's why for me, damn it, I'm focused on actually trying to be relaxed and not being tense. Because when I did the test, I was so tense, man. I was so super tense. And it's just another game. I mean, it's not like the opportunity is worth like over £100,000 or anything. It's not like it's a life-changing amount of money and a life-changing opportunity. It's just a game. Ooh. Yeah, obviously doing this live is very different to doing it on my own. But that's part of the challenge that I'm setting myself. Can I not be phased by being live? And the truth is, I am phased. This is probably the poorest score I've had, believe it or not. What you can do is go to the overview and it gives you an average of how you've performed compared to other people who are taking the same test. So let's have a look. So as you can see, I only do 100% on this one. Always 100%. But what I've had just now is the worst score that I've had on this for like a long time. And that's just because of the pressure of being live, but I'll get used to that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So anyways, I hope you guys are getting ready for assessment season because it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. And I'm definitely not coming to play this time. That's for sure. Oh yeah, you keep losing connection. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. All right, what do we have next in the flight bag? So, apparently there was a Spitfire, a warplane that made an emergency landing recently. Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch that? Have a look. This is a Spitfire. Looks terrible, man. Pretty bad shape, but looks survivable, which is the most important thing. A Spitfire was forced to land after its engine lost power in midair, a report has found. The Spitfire IXT, made in 1943, contained a 49-year-old pilot and passenger. It sustained damage to its propeller, lower front engine cowling, right radiator, and right wing skin after coming to a halt near Hythe in Kent. An air accidents investigation branch report read the aircraft had been flying for about 35 minutes when the pilot noticed slight engine vibration. This was rapidly followed by a power loss. The pilot noted a distinct smell of fuel in the cockpit and suspected a fuel problem. He briefed his passenger and established a stable glide descent to carry out a wheels-up forced landing in a field. The aircraft landed on its underside and came to a stop. It's added that the passenger suffered minor injuries, but the pilot was unhurt. Well done. That was actually a well-executed emergency landing. And I imagine if they are a Spitfire pilots, they're probably well accomplished because they don't let just anybody fly those kind of aircrafts. They don't let just any old Tom, Dick, and Harry fly those kind of aircraft. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it just me? Or is this camera a lot closer than what it usually is? Boom, boom. Alrighty. That's better. That is better. Yeah, definitely always good to hear that no one was harmed because, yeah, it can be very, it is a risk at the end of the day. But then again, life is a risk. There's no such thing as zero risk in life. There's no such thing as zero risk in life. Anyways, so another thing that I wanted to talk about last week and didn't manage to talk about it is I wanted to start talking about money. So hopefully today I'm actually going to get that right and tell you guys a little bit more about money, because money makes the world go round. Money makes the world go round. But before we get to all that good stuff, the topic of today, let's see. That's a good question. Let's ask. That's a good question. Where is that? That's a great question. Okay, so let me do it this way. Let's find out the answer to your question. New tab. There we go. Okay, who owns Spitfires? Spitfire aircrafts. Spitfires are owned by various entities, including governments, private collectors, historical aviation groups, and even celebrities. Okay, interesting. The RAF, the Royal Air Force, still owns some and flies them as part of a Battle of Britain memorial flight, which groups like the Aircraft Restoration Company and Spitfires.com operate theirs for their air shows and passenger flights. Cool. So Here's the question. How much does it cost flying in a Spitfire costs approximately £2,975 to £7,750 or more, depending on the duration and location of the flight. Shorter flights, right? Much shorter, very, very short amount of time. Shorter flights like 30 to 35 minutes start around £2,975 to £3,750. While longer experiences of up to 75 minutes, that's much, much longer than 30 minutes, cost over 7,000. Basically, 75 minutes in a Spitfire could cost you nearly like 2/3 of a PPL course. That is insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. Life is lived on levels. That's all I'll say about that. Yo, good deal. Listen, I need people like Ayub in my life, man. Like people like you with money. Speaking of money, actually, we'll talk about money a little bit later. I want to come back to the main topic for today. What is the main topic for today? The main topic for today is going to be how to turn your weakness into strength. How to turn your weakness into strength. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of story, guys. And then we will go from there. Listen, Ayub, you got money. You're saying it's a good deal. It's a good deal to pay £7,000 to go on a Spitfire for 70 minutes. If that's a good deal, you must have money. You definitely must have money. But let's talk about how to turn your weakness into strength, right? Okay, so this has to do with money. So I was born in Congo. Some of you might not know where Congo is. Congo is in Central Africa. It's one of the richest countries and yet one of the poorest countries. Okay. And I grew up in Kenya. Kenya is on the east coast of Africa. It's considered East Africa, one of the East African countries. So I grew up in a family, and there are times when we had some money. There are times when we didn't have money. And the truth is, when I became an adult, I realized that I was handling money, but I really had never been taught about money. I'd never been taught about money at all. I knew you go to the shop, you pay. I knew you had to work to get money, but how do you actually manage money? That I never really learned. And then I turn 18 and I have this dream to become a pilot. And of course, it costs money. Costs a lot of money, depending on how you do it. And there's different amounts that you pay at different stages. And so the only way I could really get started in flying, the only way I could really get started towards my dream was by saving money. Now, I tried. I was like, let me, put some money aside. However little, I'm going to start putting it aside and I'm going to achieve this dream. I even started a fundraiser. Spoke to my family, started walking around with a little jar saying, hey, like whatever goes in this jar, I'm going to use it for my flying. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to tell you that I kept that money and used it for flying. I did not. In fact, I cannot even tell you what I used that money for. This is back in 2011. And I emailed I emailed somebody in my family who I thought might be able to help me. I said, look, I've got this big dream to become a pilot. I want to go to university and study a degree that's going to also, allow me to earn my pilot's license. This is my big dream. And this person, who is a father figure, said to me, wow, that sounds really good. Good luck. I'm 18. I I I don't have that kind of money. So very quickly, I got to a place where I had to confront the fact that, one, I had no money. Two, I didn't know how to manage money. Right. And, I like to talk about this stuff, and what I talk about is not for everybody. This channel is not for everybody. You see, I had to go through a mental transformation before I could even take the steps to become a pilot. Now, some people don't have that issue. Some people, their life is set up in such a way that, they Okay, there's a conspiracy. There's definitely a conspiracy, because why did my stream just cut off? But I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Just checking that we are back. Checking that we are back. Yes. And at school too, they don't teach you how to be financially independent and how to manage money and how to invest. Very true. Very true. They don't teach you that. They don't teach you that. They don't teach you that. So I was in a position where, I wanted to achieve this dream, but I had to face the fact that I didn't have money and I didn't know how to manage my money. So do you know what I did? I did the next best thing I knew to do, which was just forget about my dream. Just bury it deep down in my heart and just forget about it. Forget about it. But the thing about dreams is that really, we don't choose our dreams. Our dreams choose us. We don't choose our dreams. Our dreams choose us. We don't choose the things that we're interested in. Those things catch our attention. And so that dream of becoming a pilot came back. It was bugging me, it's hunting me, it's bugging me. So in the end, I had to face up. And one day I became very angry. I became frustrated. I became very annoyed with myself for not having achieved my dream. I felt like I was growing older. I'm still young, but older, and had nothing to show for my life. And that bothered me. That really bothered me. But then I had to come back to this issue with money. Okay. So my weakness that I'm talking about here is my ability to save. And you can choose your own weakness. As I talk about this, you can think about your own weakness, whatever area that is, whatever weakness you have. I realized that I was good at spending. In fact, I was terrible at saving. So I tried to save, it didn't work. I tried to raise money, it didn't work. I wasted it. I just didn't have the mentality to keep going, to persevere, to keep pushing, to keep believing. I didn't have that in me. I didn't have that. But because I wanted to make the dream happen, I got to a position where I was actually forced to accept and acknowledge, do you know what? Wait, I am trash at saving. So how people go, yeah, I'm saving money and then I'll start flight training next year. Not for me. I can't do that. It's a weakness. But the first thing I had to do was acknowledge that. I had to acknowledge it as a weakness, not deny it, not push it away, not bury my head in the sand, which I did. I ignored it for years. For many years, I ignored it. But then one day, because I knew I had to do something about it, I had to look in the mirror. I had to look in the mirror and say, do you know what? You're rubbish at saving. And sometimes we have to do that. Look in the mirror and say, hey, you're fat. Look in the mirror and say, hey, like, you're actually not fun to be around. And it hurts, man. It hurts to face yourself in the mirror. But if you don't face yourself in the mirror, you can never truly change it. You can never truly transform yourself if you don't look at yourself in the mirror. So I had to acknowledge it. And then the next thing I did was, okay, since I am trash at handling money, I decided to pick up a book. And I picked up a book called Automatic Millionaire. And at the time, I was listening to lots of podcasts and sermons and personal development and all of that. And there was a mention, Automatic Millionaire. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to read that. And what I found was interesting. They were talking about people who were in debt, but they didn't tell people who were in debt to stop or to wait until they got out of debt before they started investing. That's not what they told them. They told them, figure out your debts, figure out which one's more important. The one that's got the highest interest, you pay that off first, or pay more money towards that, least money towards the one with zero interest, and keep that balance going. But at the same time, whilst you're doing that, start saving money. So I then started to learn some best practices about money. I started to figure out, okay, this is what they do, right? And so one of the important things to do once we acknowledge our weakness is actually learn from people who have strength in that area. One of the most frustrating things about how the world is at the moment, and I can't speak for how it was before because I'm only 34. But what we tend to do is we tend to think that we're on the same level as people. So we almost don't pay attention to people who are more successful because we think our opinions are as valid as theirs. Because we think our opinions are as valid as theirs, when actually they've got results. And so it takes some humility to actually learn. To learn anything, you have to be humble. You have to see that the other person knows more than you know, or they've performed better than you've performed, or they've been successful in an area that you haven't. And so you have to then lower yourself in order to learn from them. But I see, like, sometimes, especially when we're young, we new in the world with our brains barely formed, under the age of 25, and we want to have a strong opinion that's just as valid in our eyes as anybody else's. And the truth is, it's not as valid, especially if you don't have the track record. Your opinion is not as equal as somebody who's actually been tried and tested. But The biggest change came when I made the third step, which was repositioned. I repositioned myself. I decided, you know what? Okay, cool. I've accepted and acknowledged I'm terrible at saving because I tend to spend. I've learned from people the best practices. I've learned a few tips and tricks and all that. But then how can I reposition myself so that I can be successful, or at least more successful than what I was before? I said, you know what? I'm good at spending. So what I will do is I won't try to save to become a pilot. I will try to spend to become a pilot. Right? So then I said to myself, no, I'm not going to take 2 years to try and save the money and then do everything at once. No, what I'm going to do is literally, as soon as I get paid, pay for a lesson. As soon as I get paid, pay for a lesson. Spend on becoming a pilot because you're good at spending. So go spend it. Just spend it in the right place. And then I started to think about investing. I was like, okay, instead of trying to save, just spend on your investments. So then at the same time, I'm dealing with paying off debts. At the same time, I'm paying for fly lessons. I'm spending on that. At the same time, I'm spending on investing. I started with $10. And I remember when I told somebody, oh yeah, I've started investing. They were like, oh, how much are you putting? I was like, yeah, about like $10 here and there. And they're like, yeah, but that's not really going to do anything, is it? Yeah, you're always going to face people sometimes who are going to look down on what you do, you know? And the funny thing is, they have no investments. I had a $10 investment. That makes me an investor. And that makes you not an investor. And it grew. It grew from $10, 2 figures, 3 figures, 4 figures. I'm not going to tell. Listen, I know what the internet's like. I'm not going to tell you what my portfolio is at. Because I know what the internet's like. But the point I'm making is it had to start somewhere, and it started really, really small. But what I found is that I turned what was a weakness, the inability to save, the ability to spend freely. I could use that. Just spend freely on your flying lessons. Just spend freely on your investments. And in doing so, I was then able to move what was a weakness for me to becoming a strength. So I want to show you guys something. And again, this is not for everybody. This is the thing is, in life, we want to be accepted by everyone. We want to, be popular, and I won't lie, I want some of that. But I know that that's just not real. It's not for everyone. This is not for everyone. There's certain people who are in exactly the right place in their lives for whom this makes sense. For some people, it wouldn't. I mean, me 15 years ago, this would not have even crossed my radar. Like, it wouldn't even ping on my radar. So I understand it. And that's okay. But I want to show you guys something. And we're back, and we back, and we back. I don't know what it is today, guys. Maybe it's all this money. All this talk about money. Somebody doesn't want us to talk about money. So I'm going to share with you guys this. Okay. So how do you turn your weakness into strength? How do you turn your weakness into strength? Everything starts with belief. If you believe somebody is a friend and they bring you a glass of water, you'll be happy. If you believe somebody is an enemy and they bring you a glass of water, you'll be very skeptical, because everything starts with what you believe. So I want to pitch to you today a belief that you can take on if you want to turn your weakness into strength. And that's that buried deep in your weakness is potential strength. That weakness is just strength out of position. And if you take on that mindset, if you put on those glasses, that way of viewing your weakness, it completely changes how you approach things. Completely changes how you see it. Completely changes how you respond to your weakness. Buried deep in your weakness is potential strength. So how can we turn our weakness into strength? Well, first of all, acknowledge it. Don't deny it. Don't try to act like it doesn't exist. It is there. You have a weakness. You're human. Accept it. Acknowledge it. And once you do that, then learn from people. Learn from people who have succeeded in those areas. Learn from people who have the best practices in that area. And then once you've done that, reposition your weakness. Put yourself in a place where your weakness becomes your strength. Put yourself in your position where your weakness becomes a strength. That's how you turn your weakness into strength. And you don't have to take my word for it, because who am I? I don't know. Maybe I'm not that successful. Hey, I can accept that. How about Arnold Schwarzenegger? He talked about how he was all built up from being Mr. Olympia many years over, and he tried to go into acting. And they told him, you're too big. It just won't work. People are not ready for that. But he kept on going. And he did Conan the Barbarian. And after that, the director said, if we didn't have his body, we would have had to build it. And he had the accent, right? I'll be back. And you have a thick accent. We can't understand you too well. Like, you don't fit into Hollywood. You need to change that. And he tried. He accepted that. He acknowledged it. He tried to change it. He tried to learn different ways of speaking, but he couldn't shake his accent. But after being and going through that process, he then repositioned himself. And do you know what role he played? Classic role. Terminator. And the director said, if he didn't speak like that, the role wouldn't have worked. That robotic way of speaking, that accent that sounded robotic, was perfect for the role of Terminator. You can turn your weakness into strength. You just have to believe. Everything starts with belief. Everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. Turn your weakness into strength. Shout out to you guys. How was that, guys? How was that? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. I want to know. Are there strengths that you pulled out of your weaknesses? Share it. You never know who you would inspire. You have no idea. You know, I remember years ago, I danced with this guy when I was doing street dance. We did shows, and I felt like I was really hard on this guy. Like I was like really pushing him to train, to perform, to do shows. And I lost contact with him. And years later, he was like, bro, like you changed my life. And I was like, me? It's like, yeah, man, like you had such an impact on me. You know, sometimes the little that you share, you have no idea how far it could go. And to you, it seems casual, but to somebody else, it's life-changing. So never hold back. So drop it in the chats, drop your comments. What strengths have you pulled out of your weaknesses? Because that's what it's all about. When you realize that you can pull strength out of your weakness, then you realize that you don't have to be scared of your weaknesses anymore. You never have to be afraid. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Deep thoughts. Yes, deep thoughts. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Because, you know, I'm a Gemini, 1. I'm an introvert, 2. I can't not do deep thoughts. In fact, if I do too many surface thoughts, I just kind of get really annoyed. And part of the reason why is, you know, to get myself to this point has taken a lot of mental work. Just to have a PPO, it's taken a lot of mental work. And had I not had that mental transformation, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And some people can just do it like that, and they could just get their PPO training done, you know, and hey, casual, because they had those foundations, you know, somebody helped them get those mental foundations. But I didn't have that, you know. Obviously, I had something, but I didn't have everything I needed to even get started. And that's why my focus is so much on the mind, is so much on mental and character transformation, because for me, that's what even made it possible to get to where I am. And I'm very grateful for the people that have inspired me along the way, the people who have, you know, taught me along the way, who've been gracious with me as I'm learning, making mistakes, discovering new weaknesses, and trying to turn those weaknesses into strength. But I promised I wanted to talk about money. So let's talk a little bit about money. But before we do, have you seen this? I've always loved flying.
Hello. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to a new place to dance with a new face. Enjoying the wings a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Squawk on switch UT, 3-4 shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, joy and downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
4 flaps. Ooh, nice one. Flaps come up. Whoa, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man. Everything, bro.
Yes, Shout out to everyone in the chat. By the way, if you want to be entered into a draw to win yourself a brand new Live Your Dream hat, then all you have to do is type in the chat, Live Your Dream. You've got the choice of the cool blue, classic black, or my personal favorite, the white hat, sent to you free of charge. So if you want to be entered into that draw, make sure you type in the chat or in the comment section, Live Your Dream. Yes. By the way, what I want to do, particularly on the YouTube channel, is I want to feature other people's content. So if you're interested in having your content featured on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube channel, then hit me up. Let me know. I can tell you exactly where to email me. Email me there, d@futurepilot901.com, if you want to have your videos featured on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube page. Hey, look, we can grow together. We can help to build your audience and work together and grow together. So let's make it happen if that's something you are interested in. Shout out to Nadical Tricks. You have been entered into the draw. Thank you very much. There's a few names in the draw. I'm hoping to bring it all together by the end of this month. I did extend it by a month because I wanted to have more people sign up, more people have their names chucked in the hat. But if you guys don't do it, then you're just going to have to miss out. Yes. You're just going to have to miss out because I want somebody to get the Live Your Dream hat. And that will be you missing out. That's how you're going to feel. So make sure you do sign yourself up. You do sign up for the draw to be done early November. And obviously, stay in tune with the show to know and find out the results. All right. So why am I talking about money? Because I like to share information because I'm kind of like that. I am kind of like that, and people have been kind with me. They've shared information, and I wish that I had this information earlier. So I want to share the information with others in case it's useful to you. What in the heavens am I talking about? I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about in just a second. Let me get this for your viewing pleasure. I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. I want to talk about money, and the context is paying for flight training, right? Because at the end of the day, especially if you're an aspiring pilot and you don't have the bank of mom and dad to pay for your flight training, you better understand a thing or two about money. Now, do I know everything about money? No. Do I know everything that I need to know about money? Probably not. But I'm a work in progress, and that's the best that we can be, a work in progress. And one of the best ways of actually solidifying and crystallizing the knowledge that you have is to share it. You help somebody who knows less than you, but also you crystallize the information and it sticks even more. So let me share this. How can you fund your flight training? Let's talk about a bit about money. How can you fund your flight training? Well, there's only a few ways I could think of it. A few ways I could think of to fund your flight training. That's you. That's you right there in the middle. You want to be a pilot and you need to pay for flight training. It's so expensive. So expensive, man. So what can we do? And these are some of the things I did. So the first thing you can do is, in fact, I'll come to the right side and say the first thing really you should be doing is minimizing your expenses. I mean, at my lowest point, I had no Netflix. I even stopped Amazon Prime. I was living in my car so I don't have to pay rent. I was, cutting down anything that was unnecessary. Cut down your expenses. And the only way you do that is you need to get your expenses in a spreadsheet. Okay. I'm just literally going to pass through this. And if you have any questions, let me know. But cut down your expenses. It's very simple. Things that are simple are easy to do, and they're also easy not to do. So cut down your expenses. Maximize your income, right? So that could take several shapes, right? Several forms. One could be, getting a part-time job. I was working 4 jobs. So I had my day job. I was a teaching assistant at a school. And then I was teaching salsa on the weekend, on a Sunday, to private clients. I still do. I was taking care of a young man with Angelman syndrome. He's a really big lad. And as you can imagine, with somebody who's got like profound multiple learning disabilities, he doesn't really have the social skills, right? So then his family kind of have to really, pay a lot of attention to him, and they can't enjoy social interactions like they normally do because he might be off on something, right? So what they did is they got me to start taking him out and having a good time, lads time, going out to, I don't know, the arcade, going to the park, playing games, all of that, so that he's got his social fix and they can also have whatever they need to do, whether it's go to dinner or go to the cinema, because simple things like this is very difficult for them to do. Anyway, that's another job that I had where I was basically taking care of this kid. And then maybe an odd job here and there, but those main things. So it takes different forms, like doing multiple jobs, or another form that it takes is getting promoted at your job. And so I managed, because I was so pissed off about the fact that I was not making progress in aviation, I just went all out. I went all out. I was arriving to work early, and I was living in my car at the time. I was leaving work later than everyone. I was doing extra work. Now, when you are seen, I have to warn you, when you're seen to do extra work, a bunch of people will be like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Like, it's Friday, go home. Like, why are you still here? Right? But you have to know what you're doing. And so I actually got promoted twice within the space of a year. Reason why I was so intent on that was because I wanted to earn as much as I could so I could pay for flying, right? So I got promoted a couple of times in a year. And then when I went as far as I could go, I decided, because I actually don't even have a university degree, because I wanted to do aviation at university, and because I couldn't pay for my license, I decided it's not worth me doing anything like that. So I went into performing arts and dance, and became a dance teacher, and never did a degree. So then I got limited in how much I could maximize my income. I started hitting this barrier where they said, no, because you don't have a degree, we can't promote you beyond this point. So then I started doing a distance learning degree. So working all those 3 jobs and doing a degree on the side and doing flight training on the side was my life for a good 2 to 3 years. And then I got another job that paid me more. So then, I could kind of ease back a little bit because I had more money for flying. But maximizing your income can be either having multiple jobs, or it could be actually getting promoted. And the way to get promoted is take more responsibility, make fewer complaints, solve more problems, create less problems. That's simple. Solve problems, don't create problems, take more responsibility. And here's an interesting statistic. Now, depending on where you are in the economy, all of that, it might not apply perfectly, but it's worth knowing this. So there was a study basically where they found that people who worked 10% extra earn 40% more. I think right now, in the work I do, I earn double what I earned like 3 years ago. I've doubled my income in about 3 years. People who work 10% more earn 40% more. It's really worth knowing that. So the extra hours, they really do pay off. And what I always say to people is, remember this: when you do the extra work, it's not really about what you're doing. It's about what you're becoming. And always think, even if you do the extra work and you don't get noticed at this place, guess what? Now you've got something to talk about in your next interview, right? When they say, okay, tell me about, the role that you currently have. Well, actually, one of the things about me is I go above and beyond. And so I turned up to work early. I left late. I did things that I knew would solve this specific problem that we had at work, even though I'd not been asked. That shows that I'm willing to take initiative, that I see, I believe that everyone is a leader and everyone needs to take responsibility. And therefore, when I'm given a role, I take responsibility and I take initiative. And here is the results that, I got. Boom, you stand out, right? But if you just do the bare minimum and you go to your next job interview, now you have to actually blow smoke. You have to chat crap basically because what are you going to tell them? Oh yeah, my previous job, I just I do the bare minimum. So never look for the reward from people. Don't look for the reward from them. Pay attention to what you're becoming through the extra work that you're doing, because whatever you become, you take with you. That's the beauty. Whatever you become, you take with you. And so you want to get promoted, do the extra work, put the extra work in, arrive early, leave later, do work that they never even told you to do that is useful. Now, 48 laws of power, just be mindful that you don't outshine your master, because whoever your master is might not be happy about that. So just be savvy in how you do it. The other thing you can do is save money. If you're maximizing your income, you're minimizing your expenses, you then have more money to save. But like me, if you can't save it, spend it in the right way. How can you spend it? You can spend it on investment. And this is one thing that I want to talk about more and more in future episodes. I'm not going to cover it today because I've talked about quite a bit today. But I want to start sharing just some key basic principles on investing. I've been an investor for the last 3 years. My first year was 2022. I did the last couple of months of 2022. That year was post-COVID economy. The markets were ridiculously bad. So it was a red year, right? But what I did is I bought the dip. And I can show you guys these results. Obviously, I have to anonymize it, but I can show you guys my results. I have zero issues doing that. I've got nothing to gain. That I don't have a sponsor. My thing is I just want to, share information that would have changed my life had I heard it, years ago. So 2022 was a bad year because the economy was terrible. 2023, I made 44% profit. on my investments and locked that in. 2024, I was at about 69% profit. I locked in from 2029. So obviously, the year before 2023, 44% locked in, and then now 69% profit from the overall portfolio. So these are, it's growing basically. And then 2024, I was about 2022 lost, 2023 44%, 2024 69% profit, 2025 currently, and I'm on about 20%. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. And here is the thing. Here's a quick math, because student pilots, aspiring pilots, qualified pilots. Let's just think about this. What is, if you made 100% profit on £1, how much would you have? 100% profit on £1. A 100% profit on £1. Correct, Ayub. Correct. You'd have £2. You've put dollars, but we forgive you. We forgive you. So you've doubled your money. Now, what about if you made 10% profit? So the first one, you make 100% profit off of £1. You have £2. What if you made 10% profit on £1,000? What about if you made 10% profit on £1,000? 10% profit on £1,000. 10% profit. Correct. £100. Yes. Now, this is the lesson. The more money you make, the more money you invest, the less you need the percentage to be outrageous. When you start off, maybe you want to take more risk. I mean, there are some parts of my portfolio where I'm like 600% profit, 300% profit. There are some losses as well, but overall, I've still made profit. But the point I'm making is sometimes people think about, 10% or whatever, even 70%, whatever. Like even 10%, 10% is nothing to look down on, because if it's 10% of 1,000 is better than 100% of one, right? So as you grow your portfolio, you don't need the percentages to be crazy anymore. A small percentage can mean a lot of money. So just bear that in mind when you think about investing, when you think about money, right? It's very, very important. So yeah, over the coming weeks, over the coming shows, I'm going to talk a little bit more about investing. I'll still talk about aviation and what's happening in air accident investigation branch, things like that, CAA updates. I'll still cover that. But what I want to do is just introduce a little section at the beginning of the shows or somewhere in the middle, just kind of talking a little bit about investments, maybe showing you some of the different apps I use, maybe talking about like just really basic investments. Again, I don't have anything to gain from this. I'm not asking for your money. I don't even get financial reward out of this. I'm not sponsored by any of them. And it's not about that. It's just about me sharing information that I think, could be useful, that could have changed my life. And hopefully then, you hit that subscribe button and maybe you might even share it. Who knows? Who knows? You might even share the show and you might even come back next week. gosh. So hard to get you guys' attention, man. Freaking hell, what do I have to do? Do I have to strip on the show to get you guys to come back next week? Like, damn. Hopefully talking about money does it, because freaking people would rather watch cats on TikTok and join Future Pilot 901. Anyways, I joke, I tease, I joke. I tease. So, yes. That's a little bit about investment. Obviously, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Again, I'm not an expert by any means, but I know enough to get you started if you are interested in that, and you can then build your wealth as you are progressing towards your dream. Obviously, the other way to fund your training is through sponsorship. You can do that through sponsorship, whether that's the bank of mum and dad. And if you've got that, go you, enjoy it. Make the most of every single advantage you have in life. Never be ashamed of it. Never feel bad for it. You've been blessed. Use it. That could be scholarship. And if that's something you guys want to know about, feel free to ask me. I'll tell you about the scholarship that I got through the Honorable Company of Air Pilots. I'm loosely involved with the scholarship still. So I could, maybe share a few pointers if that is something that you need. Or there's the airline cadet schemes. That's some form of sponsorship, right? Or they're loaning you the money and then you're going to have to pay. Importantly, with the airlines, they're basically loaning you the money. You're then going to be bonded to them for some time for them to recoup that money. And if you leave for no good reason before you've paid it back or finished your bonding period, they reserve the right to ask you to pay the amount that's left. With the Honorable Company of Air Pilots, you do not ever need to pay anything. So they fund your PPL training. This is like anything up to £15,000, right? For the whole training. And you don't pay anything. So that's a proper scholarship sponsorship, right? Not like what the airlines are doing. Obviously, understandably, with the airlines, they're a business. They're there to make money. They need to make money. So it's understandable. I just thought I should highlight that. Obviously, other ways to get sponsorships, crowdfunding. And that's something I also did. I had to do a fundraiser to go first solo. Raised about £1,200, which was very, very helpful. Some of you are still watching the channel, and I'm very grateful for your help back then. So these are the different ways really that you can, afford flight training. For some of you, for some of us, it's a long route. I literally gave myself between the age of 30 and 40 to do everything that I need to do. Because there's this quote that says most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they grossly underestimate what they can do in a decade. So especially with investing as well, what you want to do is have a 10-year outlook, right? So what I'll do next week is maybe start sharing some of the top tips when it comes to investing, but you definitely want to think 10 years down the line when you're investing. That's a good time frame. If you're thinking much shorter than that, you're probably not going to make some good decisions. You're probably going to put yourself in desperate situations, which is not ideal, right? So with investing, think 10 years down the line. And the older you get, the easier it is to project 10 years down the line. Because when you're 20 years old, 10 years is like half of your life, right? It's a 50%. It's a big chunk. When you're 30, 10 years is 33% of your life. So the older you get, the smaller percentage 10 years is, and it just becomes 10 years. Whereas at the beginning, it's 10 years, so, and also before you're 25, your brain hasn't fully formed anyway. So you might struggle to really see beyond. Obviously, everyone grows at different rates. I'm a late bloomer. So So yeah, it took me a while to kind of, even though I was always like a deep person, like it took me a while to be able to conceptualize some of the things I can think about now. So we'll talk about that more in future sessions. If you're interested, come back. If you're not, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully see you again at some point. If not, I hope you got something that, you know, helps you along your journey. Yeah, you're right. 10 years, it seems like a long time, but it really is not. It really is not that long a time. It's not that long at all. And it's nice because when you think 10 years, like think about where you were 10 years ago. Just take a moment. Think about 10 years ago. How old were you? How much did you earn? How much did you know? What was your character like 10 years ago? And think about the huge difference from when you were where you were 10 years ago to where you are now. Ayub says you're 18. Oh, that makes you 28. Yeah, man. It's going to be 30 soon. It's going to be 30 soon. So now think about how much has changed for you over the last 10 years, how much you've learned, how much you've grown, how much you've developed. Now think about what could be possible for the next 10 years. Like you could be unrecognizable in 10 years' time. Absolutely unrecognizable. So when you set goals for a year, we usually overestimate. You think I'm going to be unrecognizable in a year. It's like then you get deflated because you know you didn't push as much and you get crushed under the weight of your goals, right? But what you could do is project 10 years down the line, because if you project 10 years down the line, you can actually plan to be unrecognizable, because it's a more reasonable time frame. So yeah, absolutely. Anyways, that's me, man. That's me. It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much for, you know, stopping by. I like to talk about these things because I want to keep growing and I want to be real with you guys. And, you know, when you put these cameras on, when you put this microphone in front of yourself and you put these clothes on, it's so easy to not be yourself. It's so easy to try to be what you think you are, or to try to be what you think people want you to be rather than being yourself. But it's a journey, and I want to show you guys more and more of, you know, what I truly am like and how I think and things that I like to think about. And, you know, for me, there is no aviation without mental transformation. So that's why I like to focus on these things. But speaking of aviation, it was a lot of fun to go through my PPL training. It was a lot of fun. And if you have not seen that yet, check this out.
Nice takeoff.
That's a screw. I was waiting for that because everyone does it.
I'm going to make sure that you can do it. And you can do it, I know.
You get to the height of a double-decker bus.
How about this high?
Smoothly throttle to idle. Smoothly raise the nose.
This is floating. It's float.
Yes, man. Good food after hard days of flying, bro.
Bro, it's needed, man. That landing, whew. I'm worn out.
Make sure you check that out on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube channel. Remember, if you want to have your content featured on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube channel, let me know, hit me up, because I want to share the platform with other people who are going through their journey, who want to build an audience, who want to share what the experience is like. Hit me up if you would like to know where to reach me or how to reach me. You can reach me on Instagram, instagram.com/future pilot 9, instagram.com/future pilot 91, or you can email me, d@futurepilot901.com. All right. Remember, we've got the draw happening. If you want to get my favorite white, cool blue, or classic black Live Your Dream hat, then enter Live Your Dream into the chat or into the comment section, and you will be entered into a draw. I will compile a list of everyone, and early November, I'm just going to close it, guys, because I've extended it a month to try and get more people in with a chance, but I think we've got about 5 people so far. So I'm going to go with that. And if you are selected and you are not here to collect your prize, not my fault. I'll have to pass it on to the next person. Right. I'm going to call it there, because I've spoken a lot today, and hopefully I've given you guys some good content. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any questions for me before I go? Ayub says, live your dream. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed. Do you have any questions for me? Questions in the chat. I see you if you're there watching on the sly. Watching on the sly like a stalker. I see you. Make yourself known. Drop a comment. Drop a like. Hey, if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit that. Actually, don't hit the share button because we're about to finish. But hit the subscribe button, because over 60% of people who watch on YouTube are actually not subscribed. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. All right. Well, in which case, we shall wrap it up there. As you know, Future Pilot 901 Live is brought to you every Monday, 7 p.m. British summertime. We've got a couple more weeks of British summertime, and then it's going to be Zulu time, aka UTC, aka Universal Coordinated Time. So remember, end of this month. So we got the next 2 Mondays. No, I tell a lie. Next week, Monday, will be British summertime, and then our clocks go forward. So week after next, we're going to be on Zulu time, which is Universal Coordinated Time, which basically is an hour ahead from now. So just bear that in mind, that there's going to be a time shift in the show times, okay? But as you know, the show is brought to you live 7 p.m. every Monday, where I give you that good quality content. We have updates from the CAA, updates from the AAIB, and now we're going to be talking about money and investing. And I'm just going to be dropping the little hints of and tips and tricks of, the little that I know, and hopefully that's of good use to you. Correct, sir. It's going to be 8 p.m. For some people. It's going to be UTC or Universal Coordinated Time, or if you're a pilot, it's Zulu time, or previously known as GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. All right, people. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the share button, because maybe somebody needs to hear what we talked about today and learn how to turn their weakness into strength. All right, people. Have a blessed week. Be productive. And above all, live your dreams. Peace. Man, from living in my car to finally getting my trial flight done.
Hold it.
To being in this moment. Hey, come on. Well done. Was it worth the sacrifice? Oh, man.
Flat. Pull back. May pull back more. Hold it there. Pull back. Switching to south of radar 130. Bit more.
Listen. Was it worth the sacrifice?
So, power right on centre line.
Listen, if you have a dream, it's down to you to make it happen, man. You might give it everything and it might still not work, but guess what? The journey makes you a better, stronger person. Can you imagine what kind of person you would become if you didn't pursue the one thing that you thought was the best thing in the world? You didn't pursue it. What kind of person does that make you after 20, 30 years of doing that? But when you chase what you believe is the most valuable, the most beautiful, the most awesome thing that you can do, and you give it everything, win or lose, you become a better person.